Hello, my name is Adnan Mahmutovic and welcome to this video which will present the character of Joseph Schneider, the protagonist of my new novel At the Feet of Mothers. I will tell you who he is, how he develops throughout the story, and read you a couple of passages where we can see how he puts it in his own words. How he sees the world, how the world sees him, and how that affects the way he grows, or perhaps fails to grow as a character. So Joseph Schneider is a Palestinian-born who gets raised by a Native American woman, Rachel, and her Jewish husband, Benjamin. He is raised as a child of the Smoky Mountains, and he doesn't really have a sense of being entirely even American, but more as someone who belongs to these woods. He sees himself as a bear boy, as he calls himself that. And he is deeply rooted in his small world and this small village, but he also wants to travel. He wants to travel the world. He wants to be a cook on an oil tanker of all places, you know. And anyone who knows my writing knows I don't always write sympathetic characters. I want readers to both like and dislike characters. I want them to develop an empathy, and not just cozy up comfortably to characters who agree with them, who confirm their ideological positions and worldviews. So in the opening, which I will read now, Joseph is a boy around 12 years old, and he meets a tourist. So it goes like this. "You're a cute little Cherokee," the tourist lady said, and pinched my cheek. "I love the eye patch. Can I take a picture?" Fucking tourists. They just had to ask it every time. A picture of a real Indian boy. Should I say I'm a fake? Not sure they would care. I look like an Indian, and that was plenty. She was fat, this one, I remember, and she'd just come out of Joey's pancake. They all come to Maggie Valley to eat pancakes. And what else? See the reservation, watch clogging, take the kids to the ghost town in the sky, take deep breaths in our woods. No, this one was here for the pancakes. The golden pancakes and silver dollar and pecan and chocolate chip and sweet potato. She must have had strawberry roll-up, or maybe not. Maybe they didn't exist back when I was 12. I should have listened to my mother and not come down to Maggie during the tourist season. I really should have stayed in the woods and survived the flood like Noah and his kin by staying on the top. It was always too damn hot in the valley anyway. But I was there, and one thing was true. We mountain people are not rude. And we smiled at tourists even when we imagined coons nagging at their bone. At least my family did. The rest of the valley were probably just genuine tourist-loving bastards, I suppose. Yeah, they damn well were. So I smiled. Yes, I used to do that back then, a lot. And I said to her, "Why do you want me to stand?" So what we have here is Joseph. We see how he sees himself, how he relates to other people. We see how his arch nemesis are tourists. And this is going to be something that follows him throughout the entire story. He will hate tourists at every moment in his life, but in the end, kind of ironically, when he embarks on this journey to Palestine, he will become a kind of a tourist himself. Now I will tell you a little bit about the part where Joseph is, this is around the middle of the story. We see Joseph resisting his mother, her wish that he goes to Gaza and look for his biological mother. He has just heard that he's adopted. You know, he grows up developing a grudge against his mother, and he refuses to actually honor her wish. So this is what happens towards the middle of the book. He says, "No, I didn't go to fucking Gaza. I didn't honor her wish. Not right away. No, not right away. I tested myself. How long could I resist her? It was winter when I was finally broken. This is what it meant to become an adult, I think. We had a black president, and it was still something fresh in our minds. Something most people, those who liked him and those who didn't, needed some time to digest. And I knew many around here were not happy about it. But I was, and I knew Mom would be. There was so much talk about birth certificates. Wow. Well, I had one if I ever wanted to sit in that chair. Only mine was fucking fake." So we see here is this clash between Joseph's rootedness in his mountain village, and also he knows he was brought there illegally. In a sense, his birth certificate is fake. So it points to this problem that became kind of globally famous due to Obama and his birth certificate, and you know, the politics of citizenship which clash with a raw sense of belonging. I mean, no one could be more rooted than Joseph is in his village. So this character conflict continues in the following sections, where Joseph makes this statement, and this is a really important one for him. So he says, "Call me American. Call me American. In that language I'd never learned. If only because I was trying so damn hard to hate this woman called Aliyah, who'd given birth to me and named me and sang to me and cleaned my shit, and then gave me to another woman, abandoned me to another tongue, in this high land of lakes with hollow trees, full of hermits and crucifixes. Call me Joseph, with the twang of my smoky mountains where my mother Rachel should have died instead of that sterile hospital where I couldn't say no when she told me to pack my bags and leave my mountain. My America, for this Middle East where people pretend to be ancient, where I too could pretend I was ancient, where I could find my ancient mother who'd call me Yusuf, where I might tell her, Mother, you don't get to abandon me. I abandon you." This is where we see, among other places in the book, how hurt Joseph is, how he resists this connection between motherhood and nations, at the same time really trying to understand this deep connection with his mothers. He cannot get rid of it, but he hates himself for it. He hates them for what he thinks they imposed on him as mothers. So he needs really to deal with that. In the end, towards the end of the story, Joseph keeps having a sense that he has failed his mothers, both of them, and therefore ultimately failed himself. So the following passage, which I will read now, comes after a long journey around the world, at the point of exhaustion in a desert-like landscape. Joseph is in a really tough situation. He's just discovered something about his biological mother. And this is what he's thinking. I closed my eye thinking, so what were they then, my mothers? Mad women? Wretches? The most complicated women on the face of the earth. History hasn't played a joke on anyone like it has on them, on us. And what the hell am I? Until yesterday, I'd been what I wanted to forget today. But today, I didn't become anything else. I'd finished my path, stunned. I'd been torn from my roots twice. But I didn't become a part of anything else. Like a pilgrim whose course was diverted by a flood that no longer has a source or an estuary. Too small to become a sea, and too big to be drunk up by this tough earth. With a feeble sense of belonging, a feeble sense of guilt because of my origin, and shame because of my ignorance. I feel detached from kin and strangers. And I didn't even have pride or hate to defend myself against these ghosts. I guess we, my mothers and I, wanted to save ourselves. But in the end, we got lost. In the end, the tragedy was that we have loved this failure to grow roots and be part of a people. And everything has its price, even this love. Was it a coincidence that they were so soft-hearted and cruel, my mothers? So damn sentimental and so damn hard, joyful and melancholy, always ready to surprise others and surprise themselves. Was it a coincidence that they have taught me, if despite themselves, how to hide behind this love, the only certainty in this mess, and find no reason to rage? Why did they do it? Why was I doing it? Because after all, I wasn't indifferent. They weren't indifferent. And if we weren't indifferent, then maybe, just maybe, we'd always been honest, especially when we lied. And if we were honest, then please, God, please salute our madness. Some readers might recognize how much this passage has been influenced by the great Bosnian writer Meša Selimović. And this is, in a sense, my homage to him, a nod to him, to my literary roots, and the fact that his specifically Bosnian, very local writing could also so universally translate into a story about other places, about America, about Palestine, about any other place, which shows us a possibility for literature to help us reach exactly that raw thing which I set out to find in this story. So this was a little bit about Joseph, his character, a little bit about his story, about some of the main themes. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you will enjoy reading the entire book. I'm looking forward to hearing from you if you want to get in touch. So thank you so much for listening, and bless you all.